Afternoon, VC. All right, this should be a fairly fun video. About a year ago or so, I was watching some Jazz Bum streams, and they had interviewed Dylan at Noble Records, and so I decided it'd be a good idea to show what kind of jazz records you can find when you go in there. So I showed a bunch, from the bins that I had pulled, maybe one or two from the wall. It was a short video. This is going to be much longer. I'm actually just going to show you only wall items that have come from Noble, the Holy Moly Wall, and one from the Holy Moly Wall. I ended up going through the collection, and I think I recall these being the ones. And another reason I'm going to show these and do this is just because that's the shop we go to when everybody's in town visiting, from the vinyl community. If wine vendors coming into town, usually has to get to Noble. Kimbo came from Seattle recently. Chance came from St. Louis. Steve Carlson drove down from Michigan when he was living in Michigan at the time. Art comes out from the mountains. Zonkman comes down from Winston. Matt and Stacy from Final Reckoning will come down from Raleigh. I mean, people travel from long distance to check out Noble, and we usually get up with those folks. It's usually John, Digital Gramophone, and myself, and others now. This should be good. A lot of really nice records here. This was in a punk drop of all things, because Dylan had upgraded his copy around that time to a promo, I believe. So this was in Dylan's personal collection at one point. This is Pieces of a Man from Gil Scott-Heron on the Flying Dutchman label, a stereo original. So I was happy to get this. It was a good price because it's got a little bit of corner damage. So I grabbed that day off the wall. I was one of the first in line, so I really racked up, as you'll see. This is a Strata East record, and it wasn't too expensive, but it is a double LP. He's had another copy on the wall since, but Stanley Cowell's on piano on this, along with Harold Mabern, Sonelius Smith, name a few. The Piano Choir Handscapes on Strata East. Don't have a lot of original Strata East. This one's fairly affordable. Some pretty cool artwork. Again, I think he might even have another copy of this on the wall currently, if I'm not mistaken. Got both Moondog records off the wall there at different times on Columbia. So this Moondog record here. And the second one with the timing strip, a promo. Really tough to find these dang Moondog records these days. Both off the wall at Noble. And I don't have too much jazz. A lot less than I thought I would. I do really well in the bins there compared to the wall when it comes to jazz. The Latin Jazz Quintet plus Eric Dolphy on Prestige. This is a wonderful record. Awesome cover art too. This one came off the wall. Yeah, Eric Dolphy on alto sax, flute, and bass clarinet, and a lot of players I do not know from the Latin Jazz Quintet. Here's a Sun Ra that came off the wall. Space is the Place. This is a UK copy. Wasn't too expensive. This is one I traded for that was on the wall. It was there for a few weeks, which I was shocked. It's the autographed Sun Ra and Noel Scott Horizon copy that was in the Chris Whitson collection. I think maybe I put it in a new cover. The original cover had some water damage, but it does have Noel Scott's autograph on the cover. So I saved that. Sun Ra autographed the labels, both on the front and back. For Chris, when Chris got some records from him when he was doing some interviews with Sun Ra, probably in the early 80s. This came off the wall. The Mal Waldron Trio, Free at Last, the first ECM record, an original German copy. That's a beautiful copy. Some free jazz from Mal Waldron. Booker Ervin, The Freedom Book, a stereo prestige copy. This came off the wall. I've not seen it since. Booker Ervin on tenor, Jackie Byard piano, Richard Davis bass, and Alan Dawson drums. This is a really great record. It has one of these stamps with 3 X's for a promo. This was one I was first in line that day, and I got this for $50. I'm sure, and this was the first year he was open, so it's gone way up in value. Todd the Alduid from Alice Coltrane with the hype sticker. A really pretty nice copy. This is one he put in my hands as soon as I walked in the door because he knew that's what I was there for, and I was first in line. This one was on the wall, inexpensive. Alice Coltrane Transcendence, a promo copy of Alice Coltrane. Oh, what label were these all on? On Warner Brothers. This was probably one of the best deals I've ever gotten there. I paid $60 or $80 for this. Dexter Calling. This is Dexter Gordon on Blue Note, an original mono. The cover's in pretty rough shape, but the record is very, very nice. And yeah, probably the best deal I've ever gotten from Dylan right there. Well, one of them. Gotten some good deals over the years. This was one he gave me a deal on. Songs of Experience from David Axelrod from the Voices of America collection. The only one of the VOA collection that I got off the wall, I believe. Yeah, Songs of Experience. This is a big upgrade to my reissue. All right, now we got a ton of the African stuff. And yeah, got really hooked up when he was pulling in all the Zamrock stuff when he had boots on the ground over there. Ricky Ilonga, Soweto. This one's a rough copy. But there is I gotta look into this. There is a Ricky Ilonga autograph on the back. I doubt it's his, but there's that. Moving on. Really nice copy of this one. This one's leaning a little more funk and disco type stuff. Not the rockin' stuff from Which. This is the rockin' stuff from Which, an original of Lazy Bones. This one didn't make the wall. He just kind of offered this one up to me from behind the counter on the Zambezi label, an original, and was a fraction of what it goes for. This was a really nice deal from Dylan. Here's a wall one. Mike Neone, Kawalala. I believe that's how it's said. This is an original on Chris Editions. Really nice, the record on this one. That's a great one. Some more copies he had here. This one came, another one he gave to me from behind the counter. Paul Ngozi, The Ghetto. More Zamrock. This one I had to stand in line to get. This was on one of the anniversary sales. Danger 45,000 volts, the Ngozi family. This is the volume 2, the very rare version on Sound Project. He had both volumes that day, and the guy in front of me got volume 1 and let me have volume 2. I forget who that guy was, but he was really cool to do that. More Zamrock, Keith Malevu, Love and Freedom, original on the Mac Bullet label. A lot of these covers are shot, but the records are really in decent shape. They're playable very well. Stuff. Another Keith Malevu, Through Fire to Heaven. Again, rough cover, but record's pretty nice on Mac Bullet. Here's one that came off the wall. Fela and the Africa 70, Question Jam Answer, Volume 2, The Music of Fela on Editions Makosa. I still need the other volume of that. This is one of the only ones I got off the wall from the Florida trip he made when he got a lot of jazz. And he knew I'd be the one to buy this. This is The other little tune, this is, who is this guy? It's on ESP disc. The other little tune from Alan Sondheim, and I think his wife's on here too, June Sondheim. This is a weird record. A lot of strange instruments and crazy improvisation. It's a good record, though. He went and cleaned out a storage locker in South Carolina once and left with probably the craziest Jimi Hendrix collection you've ever seen. So I think I was first in line that day for that drop, and I got 5 off the wall of the Jimi Hendrix stuff. I got some bootlegs, Incident at Rainbow Bridge from the Jimi Hendrix Experience. This one's on Underground Records out of San Jose. I got 2 different versions. Why? I don't know. I got 2 of Live at the LA Forum. I got this version. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. And I got this version as well with a different cover. Hendrix, some rare Hendrix bootlegs. And then I got a Japanese copy of Band of Gypsies with the Obi strip off the wall. And then the big one was this bad boy with the cover that Jimmy didn't like, the Jimi Hendrix Experience Electric Ladyland with all the naked ladies. That's a really nice original. I got a bunch of those there. Here's the punk drop I talked about. Got a bunch from that. Wire Pink Flag original on Harvest. This one I think was a different drop. The Slits Cut original, more nakedness. This is from that one big punk drop. Patti Smith Horses original on Arista. And I think the last from that punk drop, Germs GI, an original Italian press on Expanded Music. And then this was one that was in his personal collection that he upgraded. This is an original of Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. This is the, I think, Netherlands first press. Some of the recent drops, I think this one came from not too far back. This came from the last year's anniversary drop. The MC5, Kick Out the Jams, an original with the, Kick Out Jams motherfucker unedited version. The Stooges Funhouse, an original first pressing. Got this off the wall. I was pretty high up in line that day for that. Also got an original of the first Stooges record on Elektra. This was a good price because of the ring wear on the cover. One I had in my collection that I brought back in that I had sold many years ago. The Every Time I Die box set that has Last Night in Town, Hot Damn, Gutter Phenomenon, all included. That was from the big collection he got of that kind of stuff. Got an original of Funkadelic Maggot Brain from off the wall, a really nice copy that had a second copy inside. So there's a copy without a cover also in here, which was interesting. This is one he had the original on the Holy Moly Wall, and then the reissue on the Holy Moly Wall. And I got the reissue. Del Jones's Positive Vibes, because the reissue's even tough to come by. This is some really good stuff right here. And then we've got the Flower Traveling Band, Satori original. This, I think, was one of his personal copies, and he upgraded. This is an incredible album. And there's your gatefold. Really cool artwork. Great Japanese psych rock. That's on Atlantic. And then the original of Made in Japan. And I forget, someone sold this to him, and then it got passed on to me. That was a big one. And then the only one I've gotten from one of the only ones I've gotten from the big wall I traded 150 records and cash for this. The original on Music Hall of Papo's Blues from Argentina, the white label promo that used to belong to Dylan, and he got a regular copy that was in a little bit better shape. This is kind of like the Argentinian Grand Funk. Some really good jamming stuff. 15 minutes. Ran through those pretty quick, but that's the kind of stuff you can find on the wall at Noble Records. Take care. Peace.
Well, Dylan has graduated from he has graduated from kidnapping children to kidnapping adults.